Hi and welcome to Barracuda CUDA Insight videos. My name is Vinayak Shastri, and in this session we will go through hands-on deployment session of the Barracuda Web Application Firewall to secure your high business impact application servers. So to do that, let's actually log into your Azure. Let's have a look at the applications that are actually in Azure right now. So currently I do have an Oracle server that's actually deployed in Azure, and the server is actually hosting a management piece of Oracle. So the application is not yet deployed, but it's actually a management piece of the server. So let's actually secure any traffic to that particular server. Since it is web-based requests that are actually going to these application server or Oracle server, let's actually go ahead and deploy them on the web application firewall. We already have a web application deployed on the server on the Azure portal, but if you do not have a web application firewall, you could go through a prior video to see how to deploy a web application firewall in Azure. So let us actually go ahead and log into the management portal of the web application firewall, and username and password, enter the username and password as configured. And the first thing that we will do is again configure a service on the web application firewall. So basic and services will allow us to configure a basic service on the web application firewall. So we're trying to actually secure our Oracle management portal in this particular case. So I'm going to give it a name, IP address, and then the IP address of my Oracle administrator server. Port that it's actually running on is not a standard TCP port 80, it's 7001, but it's a web-based application. So I'll just click on add and publish that particular application. Okay, once our web application firewall is published that application, you would actually edit the backend server as well. Since our backend server is also running on port 7001, we can change the ports on the backend server as well. Click on save. That will enable the backend server to be on port 7001 as well. And as you can see, once the web application firewall has added the service instance, you would see that the mode and the policy is already pre-assigned to it. And Barracuda Web Application Firewall offers predefined policies for different applications. Oracle is one of those applications. So let's go ahead and change the application policy to an Oracle application. And we'll still keep it in a passive mode wherein we are not blocking any traffic, but it's still looking at the traffic, and it will manage and then specifically say if there is any attacks or if there are any malicious traffic in the request that's actually being made. So let's try to access this application through our browser. We'll open up our browser, and you remember that this is actually running in port 7001. Okay, there comes our WebLogic server. Domain credentials, so I provide my username and login, and I access the WebLogic server. Okay, once you're in the WebLogic server, this request is actually passing through the web application firewall to confirm that we can actually have a look at our access logs right now. You would actually see all the requests that are being made by the client or the user is actually being recorded by the web application firewall. So all these are the requests that are actually made by when we logged into the application. Now the second piece is let's actually go ahead and see if we can actually send in a SQL injection attack on the application. So let's actually go ahead and see the SQL injection attack on the application. This request actually did go through the web application firewall. Remember, the web application firewall is still in a passive mode. It's only looking at any malicious traffic that is flowing through. So let's actually go back to the web application firewall, look at our web firewall logs. So our web firewall logs would give you any logs that are attacks or logs that have been mentioned or been exposed. So if I look at the details of this particular request, it would show the SQL injection that I passed through the search bar, or the SQL request that I actually made through the post request. So Barracuda Web Application Firewall by default is inspecting all parameters and URLs for things like cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and any attacks that have been happening. So all of these are going to be briefly summarized in the request, and you'll have the complete details of the attack passing through. In short, when actually publishing any high business impact application, we do recommend having a web application firewall in front of your application server to inspect SQL injection, cross-site scripting injection, and many more such application layer attacks happening. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and thank you for watching the video. Thank you.